start from the top. Okay, so what we'll be doing today is we'll be writing quite a lot of endpoints, so to say. Let's look at the backend, guys, and see what we'll have. We'll be doing, apart from the fact that we'll be writing backend, we'll also be aligning some things, you know, to match what we are supposed to get. Okay, I think air is running. We can stop the front end. This is our air running, and let's go into action. Okay, we already have so many things set up. This needs to change. Well, we're not using the auto generating code. If we were supposed to change this, but I'm going to leave this like this. And this part we're going to be extending to other parts that we have not yet documented. Remember that this one does quite a lot. This is what I call Buboniche. So this one does, all these guys does a lot of things, but sometimes you want to also present to the user specific things so that they are not so distracted. Like you want to get, let's say material requisition, for example. So that one, we can do that. Oh, that even reminds me, that's another part. All this one are still under operations, right? Assets, there's no inventory yet. So that's going to be under inventory section, which we are going to dabble into a little bit. So first of all, let's try to see if these endpoints are working. We were able to, in fact, they are working. So the only this one that I've not tested, because assets and work order has been tested, but we can also give them a try by running the rest call here. I think some of them have been populated, so let's try and see if they are working. First of all, we log in, but we'll make sure you can see this is not correct. This needs to match this. There was a space there, but that has been fixed. We have a 1 and this is supposed to be 9. So let's give it a try. Okay, so that happened to be, that account is not on the system, but even so I can provide that to show on the right hand side, but let me see if it will still allow me to do all these stuff. Okay, yeah, still allows in, that's fine. Okay, so we have work order working and we can do all these requests on it. We work order, record not found, record not found. Let's start with 1200 and see if we can have access. Record not found. Let's just pick an existing work order, which is that, and we put it there. We'll send that in record well found, but you notice that asset was not loaded. Asset was not loaded in the request. So, but before we move further into that, let me check if asset was loaded here. In this case, asset was loaded. So
you didn't join it.
Yeah, I'm aware. That's what I'm saying. That's the point of what we're doing now. We want to check all the endpoints and fix what we need to fix. So if we call that again and then we didn't have the asset, so let's go and fix that endpoint. If we, the point of what we're doing today is to work on all the endpoints majorly that we need and make it correct and add new endpoints to what we're doing. We also want to, what's the word now? Create a global function that will help us to reuse codes, because there are repetition, like especially this pagination, which is repeated. I need to take it outside. I know there's a problem, but let's take it one after the other. Okay, so getting a specific work order, this is where we need to bring in basic assets. And that should fix it. I think I saw the asset here, basic assets. I'm sure you guys know why I use the word basic assets. I don't want to load all the parameter in the assets into the system. So I think that is okay. I'm going to, that's fine. The next thing we want to check is assets. Or I think we're good with asset, but let's give it a try. So we don't have assets here. Oh, we have asset at the bottom. Let's see if we can get the, okay, this asset is coming up nicely with also location is not loaded. Yep. So let's load the location of the asset. But if we try a specific or search an asset, it comes up with location nicely. So that means location was not loaded in asset. Let's go fix that. If we go to browsing of assets, I want to see how we did that. So locations was how we get that in. So I just copy this one and go to this one as well and preload it properly. So I have locations like so. So if I do a call for this guy, we should have our location loaded. So what other thing do we need to capture? Moving on to the next thing is work request, which I think, let's see. Now there's a controversy I saw here in terms of nomenclature, how you name words that have a separate line or a separate word. Work order is not a fixed word, but sometimes it's okay like this, as you can see. But sometimes you need to actually, break it up. Now, break might be difficult. So because if it's too long, it's now not readable anymore. So I think I will subscribe to this instead of underscore. Underscore takes a much more effort to type. So I think underscore, I won't prefer underscore. The reason why you use underscore is for variable naming, and when you do something like this, it's not a variable, right? Underscore is preferable for variable, but since this is a URL and not a variable, you are good to go with dash. You need something that is very easy to type, so dash on my own part is better. And again, you don't want to do something like this, right? You want to do something like that. So I'm subscribing to this method as opposed to one word. Having said that, you need to update it all around in your application, in where you have it like this, your endpoint call, your API. So all these things that we have here matters. I mentioned that before now, all those things matters. So I'm going to go ahead to make changes and try to find out if we're going to get an error or it will work, out of the box. Let's see, we have some prepared requests. Let's go ahead and use them. If I do this one, let's see what it will come with. Okay, so it came with nothing, which is kind of weird, but that's fine. Let's get another one. This one say record not found. So let's fix this one that came with nothing. Now we have like helper that shows us what is happening, what is being called. This is the query being called at the back end. So it's looking for, so this is the redirecting request 301 to this. Let me do that again. So it's giving us this. Okay, so let's go back and see the code, how that was generated.
So first of all, sir, the endpoint, the priority in the database is H for I, not the spelled out HIGH.
Okay, no problem. Let's see. Oh, there is quite a lot of criteria placed there. Okay, so
Yes.
what I would do is I'll remove everything first. Let it first search. So every other thing can first come first. Okay, good catch. So we already have something. So that means the code is even working, so that will not start tampering with things. So this is good. Now the next part I want to go into is, so I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm not gonna add anything or remove anything from it. Now the next thing is for us to be able to get a particular work order, or rather work request. So which is also good to some point, but we're not getting the assets. Is this one getting the assets? Yes, it's getting the assets. So we need to be able to preload the assets inside there. So these are like kind of cheap stuff for us to do. They don't look so serious. We're getting to the serious bit soon. So if I put, here's that guy.
At the top.
Okay, so if I put this one here, now the next thing we want to do is for us to be able to automate this process. So we need, because this process is so let me see. Yeah, I did mention it several times that we need to be able to, especially this function here, we need to turn it to something we can call, then we return this two value, page and page size. So you can see all these things can be wrapped in a function and give it a name and return those two values. Those two values can plug themselves inside where they need to plug themselves. I'm seeing what else I can wrap inside it. I don't want to wrap this guy. This guy can remain where it is because there's another operation going on here. This is trying to get the total of, so this is another operation which I can wrap into it by passing the model, and then it returns the total, so that the three things can now be passed to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the function will be too busy, or the parameter will be too busy. Okay, so now what's RT? RT is being passed here. Then I need to worry about the data that I'm getting out. So let me, because if I don't put this inside here, it means I will need to worry about it every time. But you should realize that this RT is used here. So but the more you try to wrap around it, the more issues you have. So this is another one we need to worry about again. If you are trying to wrap this, then you must wrap this. I'm trying not to, okay, I think, can I wrap this result? I think I can wrap all these guys together. Let's do that. Who will I trust to do this? Should I use ChatGPT or this guy? Okay, let me use this guy because this guy is going to write his own function inside this place. So let me give it the full context, and tell it to turn the page, what will I call it now? Operation into a function. For other endpoints. Okay, so let's see what it does. Of course, it's going to look at what we have inside there, and then let's see what it does. Apply pagination extract. So it's calling it apply pagination extract. Interesting. Okay, so number one, we need to take this guy out. This one, we need to take this out and apply it to this. So this is the major thing. So this is the code he wrote for us. So this code is what we need. Do you see what it did? This is exactly what I suggested first, right? Instead of, compacting the whole thing and turning it into a single function, because it's going to come with a whole lot of heavy, it's still having a lot of things to it. It didn't do it right, because now it also brought the database interface into it, and it brought total into it, but there's no total here. That's why I was like, I don't know who to trust with this function. Okay, so let's see how it's implemented it. So it didn't, it's not necessary for the total to be used here because the total was never touched inside here. We didn't use total at any point here. So let me give ChatGPT a chance for it to do it for us. It didn't do it very well. So let me give ChatGPT to do it for me. And it might be my prompt or something. I don't know. Where's the... So I'll tell it to... What prompt did I even give you that time? Let me say... Turn the pagination operation into a reusable function. Okay, so let's see what we'll have with that. Okay, so the first thing it did was to turn that to an object. This is looking better. So this is implementing it better. So let me copy the code and then we apply it. Now, the first thing it did was to create a global pagination stuff, which we are going to put in a global place so that we can reuse. It's not going to be inside here alone. It's going to be everywhere. Or it's going to be somewhere else and then we're going to import it in and reuse it. So look at the other method I talked about. That this was what it was trying to do. But in this case, this one did it well for us. It does the counting and have the total in it. And then it does what it needs to do. So let's look at the implementation here. That's the other bit, how it put everything together. I hope it does not change. It has changed the nomenclature. It has changed it. It has changed what it has here. So what I want to do is I want to comment this out because it has changed something actually. And the change will actually affect the way you consume your data also at the back end. So it's called this paginate. It puts it in utility, which is fine. So it means we have to go and put paginate in utility. So let's go, and that's the function that we did. We push it to utility because, you know, it's a tool we want to use everywhere. Okay, so let's look for that our utility guy, which is not a middleware. Where do we have it? We have it in package. Where is the utility guy? Do we even have a utility guy? Oh, we've not created anything like that.
Interesting. Is a middleware.
Well, the middleware, that's not a middleware thing. So that's just a utility for middleware stuff. So I think the best thing is to have a utility stuff here. And then now have okay, so we have this guy sitting pretty. Then you can see that the one in middleware is not going to be called utility, it's going to be called middleware. So I just, you know, it's a utility we use in middleware, that's what it is. I could have just create a general name, middleware, and put all the code in one place. Okay, let's go to where we need our code to be working. I'm still coming to you. So we're dealing with get work order, work request. Okay, so we're dealing with this guy. So we have there's no S. So now the paginate carries the context, carries the database connection, Yeah, that's what is happening here, because, well, whatever, long story. Then this is what we are setting inside of here, the object of that type. The results, whatever happens here, we're ordering it. Start following all these things. Now this is the part I have issue, this pagination. So it couldn't pour out the details. It can, but it didn't want to. I don't know why. So let me explain what it's doing. So it doesn't want to express itself, but I will help it. So this is what we wanted it to do. It would have just done something like this. Page. There's also supposed to be pages. Okay, I think it wanted to use AI to do it for me now. Okay, good. So this is what it's supposed to do for us. In one of my class I was talking about AI, so you should also know what's up, right? So this is what I think. Something just came to my head now. Can it do something like this? Something just came to my head now. What if I do something like this? Then this one now, well, don't let me go there. Let's not do experiments. The experiment I was trying to do was to convert this one. It already has that stuff here. So you're about to... I'm trying to remember how that works. Okay. Okay, this is because we're inside we're creating this. Let me see how this one was done here. Okay, well, we use the same method. So we're good to go. This looks okay. Now the next thing is for us to test it. Once it's tested, this now becomes what we'll be using to paginate, and then we'll follow the other parts and we'll be good to go. Let's go ahead and test our work requests. Pagination, where is the guy? Our REST protocol comes in this way, and we'll make a request. First of all, we don't have any issue. I want to check page 2 size. Page 2, let me just go to page 2 just to make sure. I don't want to scroll down, just to make sure that it's moving. Page 3, and our data is, it's kind of working. Pagination is working, so that becomes a standard. I'm not going to rename the rest of the code because we have much to do. I will not go ahead and rewrite the rest of the code, but it's pretty simple. If I want to implement it in other part of the code, let's say, let me keep this one here. Let's say we want to do it in assets. So just come to the code is pretty similar to everything. So we're removing all this guy, even with this one. Wait, there's one that is, it looks like we're removing this one too. No, we're not removing this one. So we remove up to this and we call this guy. So now instead of having, I'm trying to remember what happened here. Let me see. So we also sorted here, which is fine, and that's what is going on here, which is cool. So we have our paginate. So in this case, instead of RT, it is called DB. That's what they call it here. So this is not being used. Now instead of work requests, it is assets. Now this one needs to be used. This needs to be pages. Is that page size? Okay, it's called size here. Then the offset. Why is this one doing itself like this? That's another thing you also need to note. Fetch paginated results. Let me see how this one fetches it, because the request was written in a different way. So hey, something funny is going on. So here it looks as if we are not applying. No, let me go to the code to see what's happening in the code. So what is happening here is that it just counts. count is what is happening here. Oh, apart from the fact that it's counting, it's also fetching the result. So that is being done because this is the offset being added. So that is being done automatically. We don't need to do that anymore here. But why do I now have result outside? The result is just ordering. So I could have as well assigned this value to this value result. So my results technically is this RT. My RT is technically my result. So I'm going to leave this one untouched, but come here and say this is my result. Is that making sense? Nah, doesn't want to respond to me. So what do I return? Okay, I'm assigning the value inside assets. Oh, okay, I see what you are doing there. Okay, so this is where the whole thing is. Okay, I get you now. I got you. So what is holding this is this. I don't need to sort anything, I just need to find and then get the data out. So this one is db and db. So all this was not necessary because our offsets and everything is done inside here. This guy has done the offsets and what needs to be done. So I don't need to also report any error. This one is typically if no result was found. Just to keep things simple, I will, okay, it's enforcing me to do that check. It's enforcing me to do it. So if you do it this way, to ask you to use this guy. So the purpose of this is just to load this into this, and you can actually do it this way and just stop here like so. This is also another shortcut. When you do it this way, anything that you find in ICM, so this one is, you won't get any error. Also, you've discarded the error or something. Okay, so let's move on now. Pagination stuff now becomes this. So this is how it's implemented. I'm sure if I didn't implement this, you might get issue all over the place. But this part here uses RT, while this one uses DB. You can see consistency. In fact, this can also be another function. I don't want to go into that, but let's just leave this light because we're not going to be doing this across all the old systems. And the reason why this can be a function can just be that it can build this, a loop can go in here to build the where clauses, because this is a string and there are persistent, or there are patterns in these things that you can easily match with a loop, pass this in an array and then to loop through it and do what it needs to do. Okay, we have pretty much done two things. I know that there's still work on. I will not touch this one so that we can have definition for the endpoints we want to create for our next stuff. Okay, where is our asset? Let's see if it's still working. Asset guy. Okay, so if I call the assets, yep, the asset is still working. Hopefully, page 1. Yep, it's working. Page 2, page 3. If it's up to page 3, it should display something. So let's say page that does not exist and see what it says. Yep, so it comes up like this. If it does not exist, there's no data to show. And this might be a good time for you to now use that error, because you can actually catch when there's no data and return record not found. Moving on to the next thing, which is defining new endpoints. There are endpoints. We're not just limited to all these endpoints in the system, and this one is work order assets. We need more endpoints to be created, and apart from the fact that we need more endpoints, these endpoints will now be, you know, less, or will be more interesting. We say inventory requests. Well, I call it inventory requests. So there are This one is going to be somewhat tricky. Inventory. I'm looking for a way to start calling the endpoint. Okay, so let's just start typing. So you have items. You have item. I don't know why it uses this pattern. I just believe that this pattern is better. Personal belief anyway. Personal belief, like item, then the ID, then items is all the items. So that's my own stuff. Then is it inventory? You have work order. No. Material MR. So I'll just use, or can I just go MR directly instead of saying that I have to go through inventory to get through MR? Because we're still going to be doing transaction. Or do I want to do /item? Okay, inventory MR. Okay, let's see. So the idea of this one allows you to do filter, just like the ones with S. This one you can apply when you use directly like this, those filter thing comes in handy. So for every ones that you are going to be querying like this, we'll be allowing you to do filter. You can load as like what we're doing here to do filter like this. So let's go ahead and delete this one that we used to check, so that we can be safe. Now I'm still going to change. I'm not so sure if I should use inventory /items. Inventories is inventory under MR. So, but the way I did it in the system, yeah, I think I'm remembering now the best way to call it. Say warehouse. Yes, this is a good one. This is better. So we have warehouse requests. So we have invent items. We have this. We have MRs. MR stands for material requests. So sometimes you can use short forms like this, especially if it's something that is globally acceptable. The next one I want to capture is, let me give one space for respect. Now I want to be able to capture, I think I will still maintain this to just be, but how do we do it in such a way that people can easily understand? Like, so that you can do something like this, status open, because this is also equivalent to this, but it's less, this is less appealing. But for now, we'll just maintain. Why is he asking me to delete the up one? Why is it? So he's asking me to actually don't use this. Okay. So it means we are good to go then. So it's suggesting that we maintain this pattern. With this pattern, you can search for everything, possibly available. So we'll go with that. Now, apart from the fact that we have all this one warehouse, so we still have other things like issues. Issues are items that you issue out to, various people. So I'm looking at, is issue a very good way to name it? Okay, issues. Issued. So you want to get one particular issue. So, but I need to change the nomenclature. So issues. Issued. Okay, I think this one might be breaking me. Issued. So it's helping me out that I should use issue one like this. Okay, good. Okay. Issued. So what other APIs do we have? We have issued. So we're gonna stop here for now, even though we have other ones. Now it's looking like the things, and that's one thing with REST API. REST API is beautiful because it's just you are just doing create, update, insert, and delete. But the good thing with this API we're writing now is very simple because we're getting most of the time. We're not necessarily doing operations for now. There are still going to be operations that will be done in the future, like being able to, in fact, let's capture the operation that can be done. Let's take our time to capture the operations. So we're not necessarily capturing, or are we doing anything on MR operations here? We're not doing anything on MR. We're majorly doing something here, and that is to approve. So this will be a way to approve a work order. You have to come through this and then approve. And there are several things we can do here as well. Send to, oh, okay, now how do I pass send work order? How do I pass in different status? I'm looking at the best way to capture this now. Send to soup. So is this a very good way to do this? Send to soup. That's superintendent. Of course, I don't want to go and write all the awful details. So these are now actionable stuff, which is a patch. Now it's not a get anymore. So this is the first time we are doing other thing apart from get and post. So there's a patch. Now it's not like a debate, it's like understanding between put, patch, and post. So those are three different things. I won't go into the explanation of those things now. Put, patch, and post. Post most of the time is over abused because most time posting is for what's it called now? Is if you want to create a new thing. So posting is majorly for creating new things. So moving on. There's the patch sent to superintendent. So I'm remembering all these other things now. There's also recall. So these are events now that you can perform. You can recall a particular work order. Of course, this recall will depend on the status. So you can't just call recall on anything and it will accept the recall. So that's what you go and write in all this code to actually perform those particular functions that they're supposed to perform based on what it is that you're supposed to do. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to, okay, I think we've done approve, send to supervisor, recall. What other thing do we want to do? Send to supervisor, send to warehouse, good. Send to warehouse. So warehouse is short form for WSH. Oh yeah, you're not going to suggest something for me? Good. Send to warehouse. That suggested that for me. Now, what other? I think I've captured quite a lot of them. So that gives us a lot of code to write. But I will leave this code to you guys to do because those are technically copy and paste. And they are very easy to design. So I will focus on writing technical stuff like this. I think we'll write one of these technical stuff and then we'll call it a day. We'll call it a night. So let me see if this nomenclature are okay. So this is saying get. Okay, so it's suggesting a better word for me, which I'm accepting all of them. Get warehouse items, that's okay. Get MR. So this is supposed to just be get MR. So this is get MRs, small letter S. Then this can be get warehouse issues. Or just get issues actually. No, add warehouse to it. And this can just be without the S. So because this one will not allow us to do anything, of course, this function has to be created. So what we can do is Okay, I'm gonna bootstrap the functions so at least it will not give us this error. Now this is going to be under the controller, which is where we'll come to create, what do we call this now? Should create a giant warehouse folder. That's what we're going to write. Okay, let's create a warehouse folder or file. So inside it, I'll tell it to create these functions, but I won't really care what it is. I'll just say it should create a blank function. So I just need a blank function so that it stops giving me that error message. Don't try and do anything special. Just blank function, my guy. Okay, this is not what I was asking it to do. So this is not what I asked it to do. So let me go and tell it what it should look like. So I'll just tell it to look like this. Yeah, it's really trying. Oh, it's really trying. A blank function like this. So okay, the guy is not listening to me, so let's just do it ourselves and then move on. Let's do it ourselves. Was it about writing it for me already? I don't want it written. So package is controllers, and we can do something like this. Okay. Get MR, get MRs, get issues, get issue. And I think we are done. So one of them didn't work out well. Good. We're good. 1, 2, 3. We're good to go. So let's see the one that is still shouting. MRs. So we don't have the one with S. This is one of the reasons I love Go. You can see the way he just did everything like this. How? Why? He's so obsessed with code formatting. Go is obsessed with code formatting like me. Of course, if I go out, I think it will know that you are trying to distort the whole thing, so it will adjust itself. But what will make you do it like this? It will align like so. That's just crazy. Just to give it a visual, look to the whole thing. So let's see what's the next thing we want to do. So we're all done with this one. This one, I will try as much as possible not to create a dummy code. Let me see if we can create the actual thing. So this is going to be under work order. So we already have a work order. Yep, we have a work order stuff. I will be forced to convert it because I don't like long code that is not doing anything. I think I'll be forced to fix this code right now. I'll be forced to fix it. So let's go ahead and create this dummy stuff. Okay, so we have that also set. Our error has gone to the moon. This is an eyesore. I need to clear it off. So I will do this guy, and I don't need this guy for now. Where are my work order? So I will do from here. So it's called work order, right? Okay. Work order. Then I don't need to do all this sorting. Okay, so I think I need to do this sorting guy, but I don't need all these ones. They've already been implemented. Like I said, well, let me leave the error. Paging suggest code for me. So this course size, ain't that smart. Okay, that is that. So that's looking slick. Moving on to actual code execution. So we want to work on approve work order, or there are several things here. Send to supervisor, send to recall, work order. So which one should I work on? There are conditions to make all this code work, not because it's a good thing, but it's because it's the requirement. That's the business logic stuff. Now, ideally, you're not supposed to have your business logic inside here, ideally, because now you can see one place we just load all our code, ideally. So, but for the purpose of this training, we're going to put all our code here. Normally, that's when you now talk about service layer, data layer, and what have you. You're supposed to have not really your code scattered everywhere, but the logic of your code special, business logic, what have you, separate from everything that you're doing. Why is it canceling this one? Why? Send work order to supervisor. Why are you suggesting that I cancel it? Do you have a better idea for me? So I'm just going to leave it because I don't know why he's suggesting I cancel it. Is there a reason for that? Supervisor, superintendent. This SUP is superintendent. Superintendent. There should be a typo there. Nah, no supervisor. Okay, so let's work on send to warehouse. Yes, let's do this. So first of all, okay, it has gone to write some bunch of code for me, which I don't know where it got them from, but let me accept it. Let me accept the code. It's have I used this go response anywhere in this project? Okay, I've been using it quite all right. Oh, okay, that's true. So the first thing is that he knows that there is an ID from the param. There should be an ID from the param, which is from our main here. Which am I even calling? From our main here, there's an ID. So said based on that, I need to also tell it to write something for me. Write Swagger documentation so that when you are calling it up, you can see the details. So that Swagger documentation is important. Okay, now this is the stuff. Work order is here. Send to warehouse is here. He's suggesting a put. Interesting. Okay, let me use put. Let me use patch. Okay, so that is the command you have to write, or that's the method of the TCP request. Then we are returning, once we are done, do we return the work order as an object, or we just return maybe a boolean or successful or something? That's another thing you want to decide. But why do you need to return the whole work order? I think that's a bit too much. Once it's approved, it's either yes or no, or it's either successful or not. I don't know. So I'll just leave that for now. But normally, I don't think we need to get that there. Let me see what these ones are returning, especially okay, we're not even talking about the error part. So work order response, that's what it says is returning here. Okay, that's what made up this one. So we can just return something simple, but I can remove all these error parts. So let's just return the work order. We can adjust that later. So it gets the ID for priming. You're supposed to even convert it to number here, because we're supposed to just, it can't be a string, even though we don't have an issue being a string, but you should, as much as possible, try to prepare your data, you know, because anything can go there. So convert to integer. Of course, some IDs can be text based, but we know what we are passing. That is an integer, so we should do that. So you need to import this guy, which it has done it. If you put something that is not valid, that's where this guy comes and starts shouting. So you hold the work order variable, you find it, and then boom, you have your work order. And the idea is for us to now start processing. If you have any issue, you can see that we're only writing SQL statements. That's where the Golang comes, you know, in handy. And one of the good thing about Go is, well, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. You see that we're catching error everywhere. Like, it forces you to talk about what you are going through. Okay. Wow, are you kidding me right now? It knows about this status too. That's interesting. So he knows about this status too. How did he know about it? Let me look at what I went to go and do here. Okay, I just call it workflow. So you see I should change it to workflow status. Like, are you for real? Hey, that's what I call in my database. It's called status 2. See, I should change it to workflow. Okay, that's good. That's good. Nice. Update work order status to send to where else? And exactly this is what I call in the database. Okay, so that is if some conditions are met. You can't just trigger things into this, but that's fine. But that shows you that it has done some heavy lifting for me. Okay, so what conditions must be met for work order to be sent to this? Condition that must be met will be that work order already sent to, so it's even trying to make me check. So let me tell it condition that must be set. Let me set the condition for it. I don't want to write code anymore. It's just prompt. I want to be doing. Why is it putting it inside there? Okay. So let me just turn my comment into the code. Okay, so where am I? I want to write into the code. So check to make sure that the work class is, I'm using fixed value now. Is 10. Is 10 preventive maintenance? Where is this guy getting all this stuff from? Is 10 preventive maintenance? Let me check. I think 10 is preventive maintenance. I'm shocked to how it's getting this information. Work class. I know it has all my code, right? Really? But okay, we'll get to that later. So I want to make sure that it is 12 before you can do it's 12. Okay, check to see if it is 12. Check to make sure that the work class is 12 and the status is opened before allowing to update before updating the workflow. Okay. Only proceed if the work class is 12 and the status is opened. Okay, so it has written the code for me for that. So if you are not here, of course we're not supposed to be using magic number, but I just want to get the whole code out. Okay, work is not in a valid state for sending to warehouse. Okay, that's fair. That's good. Now let's see why work class ID is not there. Let me go and check my work class and see what's happening. Okay, so we didn't abstract that inside the work order. So this is the work order, and there's supposed to be work class ID, so which is here. So that was not captured. That work class is very, very key in a lot of stuff. And we are going to be needing it all. We're going to be needing it. Okay, for now, I'm just going to use it like this. But I don't like the way this data is being handled like so. Okay, I'll leave it like this. Now, the value is available to use. If it's not equal to 12 and this guy is this, okay, so that's much like that. That's more like it. That is more like it. And there you go. That's more like it. So this order, that's how we will be writing all these other methods that are here. That's how we'll be writing this one, this one, this one, and this other one. Recall has to be something that has gone further ahead before you can recall it. So you can't just recall anything. Even if it is open, you can't just be recalling. So those checks needs to be done. And once those checks are valid, the recall operation will happen. Now, another thing is that we didn't even talk about is the fact that how to send mail. So that won't be discussed now tonight. That'll be another session. So apart from the fact that you've been able to set this, the next thing is for you to send mail, and which will be handled by AWS. So we'll use that to trigger mail. You have to set up several things. I'm gonna be using one of my package that I wrote in Golang to send mail in the next class or session.